Here's how you can create a beautiful and elegant centerpiece using a humble houseplant, plus everything you need to know about keeping it looking healthy and vibrant long term. Now let's dig in. Now we're going to be growing this hydroponically, basically meaning entirely in water. And peace lilies aren't really associated with growing in water, but in nature you'll often find them around riverbeds and growing directly into the water, having some of the roots in the water. So they should do okay. And the other thing is, I basically know that this will work because over Christmas when I was visiting my mum, I saw her with a centerpiece of a peace lily sitting in a bowl of water and rocks that she got from a market. She's had it for years and I want one, especially because my last peace lily I killed because I left it outside for too long without watering it. And in theory, I shouldn't have that problem with this one if it's living entirely in water. To get started, we need to remove all the soil from the roots of the pot plant. You'll find that with most nursery stock, this will be pretty easy because they just pot them up and then ship them out to stores basically straight away. But if the soil around your roots is being really stubborn, don't worry, I'll show you some great techniques for loosening it up. Oh, that's a pup. So this is what's called a pup. You'll find a lot of these bulbing plants, like there's lilies, alocasias as well. As a way to propagate themselves, we'll basically create a whole new little plant. They're called pups, so that I'll actually keep separately and put in a separate pot, and that way I have bought two for the price of one. It looks like there's a few in here, but the rest I think I'll keep as part of this project just because I've got quite a big bowl to fill. Once you're at this stage, you don't have to work too hard to get the rest of the soil out. I'll show you how to move on to the next step. Completely submerging a root ball in water gets rid of excess soil surprisingly quick. This also works super well for seedlings that you want to separate entirely into bare-rooted plants. I do this lots with veggie seedlings that you want to sow together but then separate as seedlings like spring onions. This one, how it's already got some of its own roots, if you wanted another propagation, you could also cut this off here. Once they're 95% clean, you might find it easier to swap to a hose to get the last little bit. It is worth it taking the time at this step to try and get as close to 100% of the soil off as possible, because anything that we miss will be in the glass bowl forever and it will continue to muddy up the water for a very, very long time. Clay and sand isn't too bad, but organics like wood will muddy up your water by leaching tannins into the water, which will first look cloudy and then turn brown. Right, now that we have that, we want to move fairly quickly and put it in some water. If you need to start this project and come back sometimes, just put this in water for the moment. I should be able to work quick enough, especially because it's quite hot today. I really need to get a move on. Need something to plant it in. I'm going with this nice glass fish bowl. And I expected this to be a fairly budget video, but this bowl was $35. That's crazy. So I think if you're interested in this project, just try and look out for a vessel that might work for you just in op shops and marketplace and stuff. Because if you're buying this and a plant, this project ends up costing $50. And then if you see this in a shop, would you pay $50 for it? Probably not. But for the purpose of the video, I bought new products. For the next step of the project, we need a growing medium, for which I'm using river rocks. Thankfully, whichever lunatic owned this house before me covered every single garden bed in a foot thick of river rocks that I have slowly spent hundreds of hours slowly dumping behind my shed. Dear God, never ever use rocks as mulch. If you've ever encountered this issue, you know what I'm talking about. Please leave a comment to help prevent others from making the same mistake. The rocks you also need to wash as well as you possibly can. My rocks also somehow ended up looking like that bog from Lord of the Rings. Anyway, time to clean the bowl. A super underrated, great, like frugal and DIY product that everyone needs around the house is just a bottle of soapy water. I have a couple of these. This is just about a teaspoon of dish soap in this thing. And the great thing about having soapy water is that besides being basically so cheap that it's free because you probably already have everything that you need to make it, because you know dishwasher soap is food safe, it's a great when in doubt product. If you need to get something clean, you can always just reach for your soapy water and get a pretty good job done most of the time. I legitimately have 3 of these, one for the kitchen, one for the garage, and one for the workshop. And I also think a lot of people just generally underrate how good of a job soap does at cleaning dirt and grease. And that is so much cleaner than it was from the store. We need to put some rocks in this thing. My little garden over here is loving this project. I've never done this before, but I have built a fair few fish tanks. Oh, if I was a smart man, I think I would put some sand on the bottom of this. Nah, I can't be bothered. I think in future I will do some more like serious stuff. We'll keep this super simple and see if it works. So the first thing we're gonna do is put some water in. Everyone just needs to be so amazed by my hose pressure. I think it's because we have the washing machine running at the same time, so this is all I get. The biggest challenge I have to overcome for my garden in general at my house is how appallingly slow the water comes out. During the highest points of summer, I can't really get my garden watered enough. It's just sort of in this slow state of decline from, pretty close to now actually, about mid-February through until autumn and winter actually comes in. Because there's a little bit of foam from the soap, I'll just rinse this out and dish it away. Hey, you want to see a camera trick that people use to give the illusion of time speeding up? Oh, look, I'm filling up the bowl. And then we cut back and oh my God, here we are. The thing's full, the cake is baked. Ryan, are you telling me that everything on the internet isn't an entirely accurate depiction of the way things work in real life? Now, you're never gonna believe this, but you should believe everything on the internet. All right, cool, now we need to start stacking it with some rocks. The big thing with putting rocks on glass, if you're ever doing this, like big rocks in a big fish tank, commercial aquascapers and stuff will actually put structures underneath the rocks that will help distribute the load. We're cheap, so we're not gonna do that. So we're just gonna place these in, but you basically want to try and make sure that you have as few pressure points on each rock on the glass as possible, as in you're trying to get as much contact with the bottom of the bowl as possible. So we're gonna start with just some bigger, flatter rocks that have a bit of a convex shape to them, and wash some of them off as we go. Now we basically want to vibe out how tall we want the lily sitting in the pot. For me, I think just above this first layer is about right, because that way the bottom most foliage ends up being just above the bowl. It has room to grow, should present quite well. At this point, if you like this one where you actually get multiple, you could maybe distribute them separately and have a bit more of an interesting pattern. Oh, that does look really nice. And also because this will expand, I think I might do that. Now we're basically going to use other rocks to start to lock in these roots. And this is the main reason that we have rocks in here. It's a bit fiddly while we do it, but it won't take too long before it starts to really start to work itself out. Now on the first go of this, you don't have to do that amazing of a job, because the longer it lives over time, the roots will work their way down and through the cracks of the rocks and actually create a much more stable base of the plant than you can just by stacking rocks on top. But the better a start we can give it, the better. This little step can take a bit as you're trying to find a balance between a rock arrangement that looks nice and something that locks the plants into place, but it's also pretty therapeutic to do. There we go. Now that's starting to look pretty good. The water's going to be a bit murky. There's two main reasons for that. We didn't get all of the dirt off the roots of the plant, so that's going to make it a bit murky for the first bit, as well as the rocks. If you didn't get all the dirt off those, it's going to be a bit murky. This is something that we're going to have to do some periodic water changes to, but the amount of murkiness that you're going to get from it will really improve over time. After only, honestly, like a month or two, you will start to get basically crystal clear water. We'll also get a lot clearer water in only a couple hours, as well as a lot of the murkiness of the water is basically solids floating around in the water that's suspended in it. They will slowly drift down and you'll end up with a really clear water. Now that we've created our lovely plant-based centerpiece, we need to know a few things about how to keep it and make sure that it's thriving long term. The first thing is it does need to be in a somewhat well-lit position. It can absolutely live indoors, just make sure it's within a couple meters of a window and it should do fine. Alternatively, if you have an outdoor undercover patio, this is a fantastic centerpiece to put on any tables out there. That's exactly where mine's going to be living. However, because this is a plant and it needs some sort of sunlight, that's gonna raise a couple problems. Mostly algae, because there's no filtration system or anything else living in here that might help eat away some of the algae. You can maybe experiment with putting some sea snails in there. I think we need to tweak the design a bit if you wanted to keep fish in here. But the good news is one of the best ways to do that is a fairly cheap product, and that is just an algicide or algae eliminator that you can buy from many pet stores, or even this one comes from Big W. One bottle of this is like $6 and it will probably last you the lifetime of the plant, because the water volume in here is so small. This is only going to be probably 3 or 4 liters at most. That's only going to need a couple drops every couple months or so to help make sure that we keep that algae at bay. If you don't do that, you'll probably notice that the water will usually start to turn green after a while. You'll probably have to just do much more frequent water changes. The other thing that will increase the amount of algae that you get, but will also make the plant much happier, is fertilization. There's going to be a couple of options. Now, we can't just chuck any old fertilizer in here without turning the water very dark and black. You can't just chuck like a liquid fish emulsion in there. It would look bad, smell bad, probably wouldn't be great living inside your house, especially at your dinner table. But there's a bunch of fertilizers that work well. I'll give you some suggestions and just buy whatever's cheap and available near you. Nitrogen-rich hydroponic fertilizers should work well. Those will usually come in a fairly powdery or crystal form. Just need to follow the package directions. You can get these pourable indoor plant ones. This one's an orchid specific one, but this liquid is usually clear. You'd probably be able to find one that's for a species that fits a little bit closer to the peace lily. And the other one that should help keep this thing well fed, growing really quickly, because also the quicker this grows, the quicker it's ripping the nutrients out of the water, the less likely algae is to grow. And that's some sort of foliage-based fertilizer, something like these mists and feeds. This sounds like this is some weird jive product sponsored placement. None of these products are sponsored. I have no affiliation with any of these brands. And then just whenever you can be bothered, just give it a water change. And if we can manage to wait a while before its first water change, you find the roots do a really good job at bedding themselves in. You won't have much of an issue with them moving around too much. If you don't want to disturb your arrangement, or you've done this in a pretty big bowl, one of the best ways to get all the water out would just be using a simple siphon. You can literally grab a garden hose, put one end in, the other end below it, let it drain out that way, and then just refill at the sink. Let me know if you like these little plant projects, because they are so fun and rewarding. And also, everything that you can do that's somewhat aligned to looking after plants will usually make you a better gardener in the end. For myself personally, I found that looking after planted fish tanks and bonsais has absolutely made me a better veggie gardener, because you need to think about all the same concepts but in a completely different way. And this sort of project is no different. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.